If I could just get that pair of shoes, I'd be happy. If I could just find a girlfriend, my life would be complete. If I could just get that car, I'd be set. If I could just find a bigger house, I'd finally be content. Growing up, these things are the things that I thought would make me happy. And honestly, I still fall for those lies. That somehow those things will solve all my problems and I'll finally be content. And we feel like when we have those things, we'll be able to rest. As I've been walking with Christ, I see that those things won't ultimately fulfill me, even though they are deceptive, right? I've moved on to thinking that other things will bring me ultimate happiness in my Christian life. I'm in ministry full time, and a lot of my hobbies have to do with ministry of some sort. I'm involved in my church. I'm going to school for ministry, and you'd think that as a Christian, I'd be content with those things. But honestly, I don't stay content in that. I think to myself, if I could just plant a church or be part of some revival or go out to the mission field somewhere, then I'd be satisfied. Can you relate to that? Our society is obsessed with doing, and I mentioned that in the last video, that we think of our lives in terms of to-do lists. We find our worth in it. We think that if we could just do enough, we'll be happy, and that God will be happy with us. But I want you to think about it this way. Imagine this. All right, say you're a man, you fall in love with a woman, you're head over heels, all you do is think about her, right? You buy her flowers, you date her, you spend your time getting to know her, you're intoxicated with her, right? You marry her, you prepare a house for you to spend your lives together. And then you start looking at the house and seeing all these things that need fixing, right? You start working on the house, you paint the interior of the house, but you're not satisfied. You replace light fixtures, still not happy. You replace all the electrical work and you keep messing with things over and over again. You replace the cabinets, the doors, the appliances. And your wife likes that you're doing these things, but by the end of the day, you're exhausted. You don't have any time for her. And day after day, you do these things and your wife becomes more and more neglected. You see where I'm going with this? Your work may have started with good intentions. You may have started doing these things for your wife, but if you're not spending any time with your wife, loving your wife, praising her, and being there for her, what good is any of that, right? You'll probably end up getting a divorce. We think we need to do this huge list of things that will make us happy, but Jesus keeps it simple for us. In Matthew 22, he says, love the Lord your God with all your heart, with all your soul, and with all your mind. This is the first and greatest commandment. And the second is like it. Love your neighbor as yourself. Sometimes we lose sight of that love. We feel restless. We feel like we need to earn something. Now, don't hear what I'm not saying. I'm not saying don't fix what needs to be fixed. But if you stop spending time with God in worship and prayer and praise, if it's not holistic, ministry will quickly become an obligation. And you'll jump from one thing to the next, thinking that you're earning God's approval, even though you may be really distant from God. Doing should never be by itself. It should always flow out of being. So let me repeat that. Before you do, be. Be in relationship with God. Be in a place of worship, praise, affection, thanksgiving, and out of the realization that God's infinite love covers you. So I want to challenge you today, before you think about doing the next right thing, spend 30 minutes sitting in absolute quiet and thank God, praise God, worship God. Then ask God to speak to you and wait. You may be surprised about what he reveals.